Exceptional squared, a different kind of gifted. Hello, my name is Heather Kemp. Today I will be leading a professional development session about twice exceptional students. In math, we learned that an exponent represents the quantity that a term or expression is to be raised. Exponents are fun, challenging, and sometimes downright confusing, much like twice exceptional students. Join me as we explore the following topics. What does it mean to be a twice exceptional student? What are the observable characteristics of a twice exceptional student? What are some strategies educators can do to support and advocate for twice exceptional students? Let's start with a quick agree or disagree poll. Please go to the hellosmart.com to answer the question, can students with an IEP also be considered gifted and talented? We will revisit this question at the end of the PD. What does it mean to be a 2E student? I think Senator Grassley summed it up well. What makes a child gifted and talented may not always be good grades, but a different way of looking at the world and learning. One myth some educators have is that they think of gifted learners as those that are easy to teach, the natural learner. Twice exceptional students are not able to learn and achieve in all learning environments. 2E students have gifts that are often masked by a disability or a disadvantage. The National Association for Gifted Children and many other experts have identified 3 different categories of 2E students. Those that have gifts that mask the disability, those that have a disability that masks the gift, and those that have gifts and disabilities that cancel each other out. My goal today is to help you understand that twice exceptional students can be any student in your classroom and how to recognize and grow their talent. Identifying the 2E student is much like what the image on the slide shows. Each child is unique, and identifying them can be much like searching for that missing puzzle piece. The chart shows some of the strengths and challenges you may observe. Take a minute to study the chart. Talk with an elbow buddy or as a table. Do you have or know a student that exhibits these traits? How do you react to their behaviors? Click on the link for the Jamboard and share your thinking. Characteristics of 2E students. Let's take a deeper look at some of the more common characteristics of twice exceptional students. Processing. The struggle is real. Have you had the student that doesn't quite get all the homework written in the agenda book? Then you get the phone call or an email from the parent letting you know that their child just doesn't know what's going on and they can't do the homework. Slow processing speed may be to blame. Believe it or not, parents experience this at home too. This might be the same child that is reminded several times to get dressed for school, and after 10 minutes still hasn't started getting dressed. Stephen Butnick of the Davidson Institute describes this as a sluggish cognitive tempo. In our classrooms, we may observe students that make frequent errors, seem like they are daydreaming, and lethargic. When twice exceptional students experience processing problems, they can shut down and refuse to work, have emotional outbursts, and become overly argumentative. Frustration, the child that says, I just can't do it. Processing speed and frustration can go hand in hand. Students will see themselves as not being able to keep up with the rest of the class. They will experience periods of lashing out, verbal outbursts, and tears. Frustration also happens when students understand the material but can't get it down. For example, a student that has a rich vocabulary and a creative mind, but is unable to write quickly or legibly enough to write a complete story. In math, this could be your creative problem solver, but struggles with recalling basic facts necessary to get correct answers. Focus. Focus can be a blessing and a curse for 2E students. A lack of focus can be connected to processing issues. When gifted students become super focused or fixed on a task, they will not give up until the job is complete. These are usually preferred tasks, ones that the student is highly interested in. Now that you have some information about how to identify a possible twice exceptional student, let's shift the focus to providing instruction and interventions to bring out the talents these students possess. Consider this quote from Marilyn Lure. If a teacher can rescue the hidden student who is simply being buried under a barrage of never-ending and irrelevant assignments, they will see miracles begin to happen. Let's find your miracles. Consider the following. Think about the students that make up the ECE population in your school. 6% of those students are having only their disability addressed. That means 5 to 10 students in our school are missing the opportunity to excel because they are receiving interventions and modifications for learning disability in language arts, mathematics, or behavioral modifications from issues associated with ADHD, ADD, and autism. Boys are more likely to be twice exceptional than girls. Most students of color, low socioeconomic status, and English as a second language are also considered twice exceptional and are significantly underrepresented in gifted and talented classes. Study the cartoon. What are your thoughts? Think of these animals as different students in your classroom that could be selected for gifted and talented programs. Would it be fair to judge them on the one criteria of being able to climb the tree? Albert Einstein makes it very clear by saying everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. This is why we need to recognize, support, and help our 2E students grow their talents. Educating the whole child. Many of our 2E students feel left out because their skill development is uneven and their work is often inconsistent. Remember that one of the characteristics of 2E students was feeling frustrated. Some of this frustration comes from feeling like they can't keep up with the others in class. They have extremely high expectations for themselves, and some have perfectionist tendencies. Temple Grandin states a classroom that successfully meets the needs of 2E learners will meet the needs of all students. One way to achieve this is by using universal design. Universal design is a multifaceted approach to teaching students that supports their emotional needs. The cool thing, it works with all students, and many aspects are already common classroom practices. Universal design encourages student choice. The exchange of ideas allows 2E students to learn and share their interests and strengths. Students engage in the learning process more when they are able to use a talent to demonstrate their understanding of the content. Target statements. Rick Stiggins tells us that explaining the intended learning in student-friendly terms at the outset of a lesson is the critical first step in helping students know where they are going. This is incredibly important for our 2E students. Target statements provide them a focal point for their learning. Using digital tools. Tools like PDF Reader and Read and Write for Google Chrome will read complex text to students. Students can also use these tools to dictate a story or a writing piece, and the computer will convert the spoken word into written text. Many of our 2E students have language arts deficits. These tools help ease the anxiety and frustration they have when trying to find information about a project they are working on. They are able to write creatively without having to slow down to get words on the paper. Best practices for 2E students. Building relationships is a key to learning success. The 2E student needs to have a trusting relationship in order to feel comfortable asking for help. Differentiating instruction, in which students have some autonomy. Areas of interest should be taught at an accelerated rate, while deficit areas should be scaffolded, supported with interventions to meet the needs of the IEP. Homogeneous grouping allows 2E students time to work with other students on the same level or with the same interests. Collaboration with counselors, parents, and ECE teachers is important as they can offer different perspectives and possible solutions to challenges that occur in the classroom. Communicate frequently with the students and the parents. Talking with students can ease some of their social emotional anxieties. Be flexible. 2E students are just as diverse as any other student in the classroom. Be prepared for a messy, noisy atmosphere. Conclusion. As educators, we need to break away from focusing so much on strengthening the weaknesses of our 2E students. When students receive the benefits of a gifted education, it has been found that they tend to have a higher self-concept than those students that have interventions that focus on their deficits only. One thing we can do to support the emotional needs of our 2E students: allow extended time to complete assignments or assessments. Check in with students when working on complex projects to avoid frustrations and loss of focus. Consider breaking complex assignments into smaller pieces. When necessary, have a timeout plan. Send a fun note to the office or a teacher on the support team that a student has a positive relationship with. Be flexible and understanding. Before you leave today, please go to hellosmart.com again and tell me 3 facts you learned today, 2 questions you still have about twice exceptional students, and 1 opinion. Thank you. If you would like me to observe in your classroom to help identify a student, please let me know, or if you have questions.